tight. We've come here because of the lack of funding for legal aid provided by the provincial government. Throughout British Columbia on a daily basis, people are severely hampered by this crisis where they cannot get legal representation in family courts, criminal courts, and in immigration law matters. And severe cuts have also resulted in the total elimination of what we call poverty law, so that people cannot get legal representation in such things as landlord and tenants actions, appeals for income assistance, appeals for employment insurance. Legal aid budgets have been slashed by approximately $50 million in the last 20 years and almost $30 million in the last 10 years. At the same time as budgets are being slashed, the provincial government implemented a tax on legal services with the goal of saying these taxes would be applied for the funding of legal aid. That has never happened. Those taxes have been applied solely to general revenue. It is estimated that the government was collecting under the provincial sales tax up to $150 million a year, yet was funding legal aid in the last year of about $65 million. In 2009, over 45,000 people applied for legal aid. Due to the cutbacks in eligibility, approximately 32,000 people were actually given direct services. The lawyers have said enough is enough. We've experienced 20 years of cutbacks. The people of BC are suffering greatly because of it. And we are now going to take even more drastic measures because the government has refused to listen to anything that has happened previously. Starting in January of 2012, criminal lawyers around the province will be withdrawing duty counsel services on an escalated basis. We will be withdrawing for the first week of January, the first 2 weeks of February, first 3 weeks of March, and all of April. At that time, we will be reevaluating what we have accomplished and look at whether further action is required.
We had made a statement. Kamloops was the only jurisdiction in the province that made a positive statement last January in 2010 when 5 of 7 regional offices were changed to legal services. That means that people couldn't walk in the door and get a referral for legal aid if they needed it. Through our own action amongst ourselves here in Kamloops, we managed to get the attention of 3 levels of government and managed to maintain an local office here for legal aid that is run by the Elizabeth Fry Society. Now that is something that took an active voice, and it was the lawyers that had to do that. And the reason that we are speaking up is because we're representing a population that we feel are marginalized. And that's people in poverty, the working poor, mentally ill, and the people who are accused and involved in criminal justice. These are not the sexy students in schools and the healthcare issues that you see every day. So these are the reasons that government can and do ignore the concerns of people who find themselves in front of the court as a criminal justice or the court justice system at all. That means that eligibility is limited and restricted. Fewer people are qualifying for legal aid. That means you don't get a lawyer. You might have 2 jobs, but you make just over the margin for eligibility. That means you don't get a lawyer. So if your children are apprehended by the Ministry of Children and Family, you have to represent yourself to fight to get your children out of foster care. We've reached what I would describe a tipping point. The judges see it as nearing that point. And we're here today to be able to address this. The time has come now to be able to speak to that. And don't think for a moment that your taxes aren't paying for this broken system. We're sustaining the system of people not getting the access that they need, delays in court, people sitting longer in jail, and children, families being torn apart, and we are sustaining this by not bringing this to the government's attention. One of the recommendations that came out of the Doust report was that the legal aid be recognized as an essential service. This is one of the possible solutions to this problem. Another solution is that, as Graham had indicated, $100 million a year are being taken from taxes on legal services that were originally supposed to be allocated towards legal aid. This, without increasing taxes, could go back to legal aid as it was originally designated for. That's $100 million a year that could help fund the legal aid system. So we need to restore the money that's been taken from legal aid initially. We need a sustainable funding system over multiple years, and we need this designated as an essential service, so it's viewed as importantly as it is in healthcare and education. These are desperate times, and now is the time to address it. Thank you.
Thank you.